music-loving friends. Today, we're going to make a little picture to help you think about your note reading. Now, I don't know how many videos you have done of mine already, but I like to fold my paper to make everything very organized, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. When the paper's like this, we call this landscape orientation. You don't have to remember that, but when you see it like this and not like this, it's important that you put your paper the same way. Let's start by folding it in half this way. So we go this way, we make sure that those corners line up really nicely. And then once they line up, I'm pinching it to hold it tight so it doesn't go all over the place. And then I start my fold like so. And then once my fold is kind of how I want it, then I grab the nearest utensil and I smash it. I happen to have my scissors handy. You can use your fingernail to smash that fold. I don't want to ruin my manicure, so I'm just using the handle of my scissors to make a nice tight crease there. Okay, now we want to fold it in thirds from here. And the best way to fold a paper in thirds is to start your fold, but don't smash it yet. And ask yourself, does this look about the same width as this? From here to here should look about the same as from here to here, and it doesn't need to be perfect. So just see if it looks about the same. And when you're happy with this spacing, then you do your fold. And of course, you smash it. All right. So now it looks like this. And we want to fold this over again like so, but I actually find it easier if I go back like this. So I'm going back like this. I'm making sure my corners don't get all wild and unruly. And then once I'm confident that everything's lined up, make sure on the other side that everything's lined up. And then I pinch it and I hold it down to the table and I smash that fold. There it is. And then I crease it with my scissors. And you can see mine is not perfect, but that doesn't matter. We're just making a drawing and using this to help us be a little bit more orderly about that. So now I'm running my finger along the back of those folds so that the paper will lie flat again. I'm opening it all the way up. And now what I have is this piece of paper that has 6 columns on it that are going to help me keep my drawing very neat and tidy. We need to do one more fold. So my paper is landscape again, and I'm going to fold top to bottom like so. And I'm lining up my corners again very neatly. And then I'm pressing that fold and making a good hard crease. So what do I have here? I have a piece of paper with a bunch of lines on it to help me draw a really nice picture. So we're going to be drawing a note reading house today. Now, if you've done any amount of note reading, you know that we draw our notes on something called a staff, and that has 5 lines in it. And we're going to draw those in first so that we have plenty of room for our notes that we put in eventually, and then we'll build a house around it. So you have this middle line right here, and you're going to draw one line that goes all the way across that. So starting over here, it doesn't need to be perfect. If you really like your lines to be perfect, you need a ruler for that. But as you can see, I'm just following that line. I'm not going quite to the edge of the page because I'm trying not to get ink on my background here. All right, now I said the staff has 5 lines. And so to keep our spacing relatively even, we're going to use a finger space. So I stick my finger here and make a little mark. I see where that mark is, and then I'm going to draw a line that kind of goes along that. I'm making it as straight as I can, but I'm not using a ruler. Again, a craft or a drawing doesn't need to be perfect to be beautiful, does it? I'm going to make another finger space because I need 5 lines. I've only got a few so far here. So now I'm going to draw a line along there. So I have 3 lines now, but as you know, we need 5, and we're going to put the other 2 on top. So find a finger space, make a little mark, draw your line. 1 more line to go, finger space, little mark, and your line. So now you have this beautiful staff. I bet yours looks so good. Okay, now it's time to build our house. What does a house need? Obviously it needs some walls, doesn't it? So you have these other fold lines And I am most interested in this one right here, right now. So that you don't need to fold yours, I'm just showing you where mine is in the video here. But this little fold line over here is where we're gonna put the first wall of our house. So I'm starting on the bottom line of the staff, and I'm gonna draw that wall so that it goes a little bit above the staff, like that. And then on the other end of the staff, I'm gonna draw another wall. It doesn't matter if you have some staff lines hanging over the end, that's okay. So that wall needs to go just as high as the other one. And then it's time to put a roof on your house. So that roof needs to start in the middle. And again, you don't need to fold yours. I'm just showing you where the fold line is. Right in the middle, you have a line. And from that middle line, you're going to start your roof up high and you're going to come down low. So it goes over the wall of your house. And then we're going to make one on the other side that looks the same. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Okay, my bass playing friends, we are going to start to make this house look a whole lot more interesting. Now, I don't know any house that has no landscaping. Landscaping is trees and bushes and grass and things like that. And for our house, we're going to put a little bush over here, but that bush is going to be a bass clef. I'm going to draw it twice. The first time I'm going to do it in green, and I don't want you to do it with me. I just want you to watch how I make it. And then the second time I'll trace over it in black, and then you're going to do it with me. So here is what a bass clef looks like. Starting on the second line down, we put a little circle and we color that in. And then we start a little spiral. We go down and around and up. We touch the top line and then we spiral all the way down like so. And then to finish our bass clef, we need a dot in this top space and a dot in the second space. So let's do that together now. So I have my black pen. Pick up whatever color you like. You can make it green like a bush. You can make it whatever color makes you happy. So draw your little dot around that second line. Then start your spiral. It goes down and around, it up to the top line, comes back around this way, and then down again. So it's kind of like a big spiral. And then to finish that, you need 2 dots, one in each of the top 2 spaces. I'm gonna fold my paper to show you where the fold lines are because I know they're hard to see in the video, but you don't need to do this. You can see your own fold lines, I imagine. So in this first little column after the bass clef, I'm talking about this little space right here, we're gonna put notes of your E string, which is your lowest string. So in order to do that, we need to add 1 extra line right over here. We need space for 3 notes, so it needs to be all the way to the left. So kind of an even space from where these lines are. From here to here, we're gonna draw another line down here. Okay, and now I'm gonna switch to color. I'm gonna go with green for the E string. When a composer wants you to play your E string, they will draw that note around that line. So it kind of looks like Saturn with rings going through it, doesn't it? So draw your note there and then label it with an E. We'll come back to what room of the house this is in just a moment. For now, we're gonna draw where your first finger and your 4th finger goes. So your first finger goes right here underneath the staff, but not around that line, just hanging out right underneath. Okay, and then finally, the next finger that you put down is gonna go around this very bottom line right here. We're not gonna fill in letter names or finger numbers. You can just tell it's no fingers, next finger, next finger. It's just every time it goes up a line or a space, you add the next finger. But we are going to use a little tool for remembering which string we're looking at here. So this is like the basement of the house. It's the notes that are all the way at the bottom. They're so low that they're under that first floor. Well, because my name is Emily, we're gonna name that room after me. This is Emily's exercise room. My name is spelled E-M-I-L-Y''S. Now, if your name starts with an E, or you have a friend whose name starts with an E, you can change that to a different name. But the reason I'm doing Emily's exercise room is because I run. I do marathons and ultra marathons, and so this makes sense for me. So we're gonna do this together. So Emily's exercise, E-X-E-R-C-I-S-E. R-C-I-S-E, room. So this is where I would keep my treadmill, down in the basement. Okay, so I'm going to switch colors because now we're going to do the A string. The A string sits in this space right above that last note that you just did, right down here in the bottom space. Notice the lines are not going through it. It's in the space and it's kind of near those lines, but it's not going, the line is not going through them. Okay, so that's your A. Let's label that. And then you have two more notes you can play on the A string. So you can play this note. You add a finger, play that note, and then you could add another finger to that string and play a note in this space. So there are the notes of your A string. And what on earth are we going to use to remember the notes of the A string? Well, this is the first floor of the house. And on the first floor of the house, we have Auntie's sewing room. Auntie is A-U-N-T-I-E. We need an apostrophe S. Auntie's sewing room. Sewing is S-E-W-I-N-G, and room is R-O-O-M. Okay, so in the basement of the house, we have Emily's exercise room. Those notes look low, they sound low. Then we get to the first floor of the house. You got your A string notes, Auntie's sewing room, and they sound a little bit higher, but they're still on the lower side. So what do we put on the second story of the house? I'm going to switch colors. If you know your strings, you know what's next. It's the D string, and the D sits right around the middle line. So the line is going right through it. Let's label it with a D. And then if you add a finger, it's going to be in the next space. And if you add another finger, it's going to go around the next line. What, you may ask, is on the second story of the house? It's Dad's office. He can get some peace and quiet up there. So Dad, D-A-D, apostrophe S, office, O-F-F-I-C-E. And finally, it's got to be time for the G string, doesn't it? That's your highest sounding string. And the G sits in this top space of the staff. I did one pass at this video where I accidentally wrote the wrong letter name. So you can see I've already put the other notes in, but let's put a G in. Here's a G. Excellent. We have E, A, D, and G. And then the next note goes on the line. So it's got the line going through it. And the next note goes right on top of the staff, like it's just sitting right on top. So what is in the top of the house? It's all the way up there in the attic. Who would want to go up in the attic and be all alone in the top of the house? That is Grandpa's workshop. Grandpa, G-R-A-N-D-P-A, apostrophe S. It's his workshop. Workshop. He can go up there, he can make all the noise he wants up in the workshop, and it won't bother anybody in the lower parts of the house. Now, when you get to be a very competent bass player, you might actually see some extra lines put on the staff here. Just like we put an extra one low here, you might see them played higher on the staff. But instead of drawing all that out, we're going to put a little chimney. So make a little chimney, and then we're just going to draw some smoke, representing notes that you might play when you become a very fine bass player. All right. So you have your drawing here to help you remember where all of the notes sit on the staff. E string is low, so it's down in the basement. A is down here on the first floor of the house. D is here, and G string notes are here. Thank you for drawing with me.